Hey squad, welcome back to your Royal BFF. Thank you so much for joining me for this special breaking episode of The People's Duchess. So Charles made history last week as the first king to ever honor a live pig at a banquet. It was incredible, and I mean that in the worst possible sense. And in as much as everyone's talking about it and you guys kind of want me to cover it, I would rather put a cigar out in my eye than talk about that man. Any of those men, they are completely irrelevant to me. But what we will do, in lieu of having that conversation, is revisit a conversation that is worth revisiting, which is, why do people hate Charles so much? What happened? Where did it all go wrong? Now, obviously, this is a rhetorical question. Nobody likes an adulterer. Nobody likes to be cheated on. Nobody likes anything about him and Camilla's relationship, including the fact that he went on to marry his mistress. They slap in the face to everyone. I don't care if you're a royalist or a Republican. Being cheated on is one of the most heartbreaking things in the world. It has destroyed many a good man and woman. So no matter how much gaslighting they do to us to try to make it seem like Charles is universally accepted and beloved, we all know that that's just not the case. Some of us got cheated on back in 1963 and are still pretty fumed about it. So there's no redemption for Charles or Camilla ever. Even if publicly you want to support them, privately you despise them and what they did to Diana. Having an adulterous clown and his equally clownish mistress take the throne has utterly stripped the monarchy of any type of prestige. You are not prestigious. You are not God ordained. You are two adulterers attempting to gaslight everyone into accepting you as better than them when you're literally the worst of us. So in light of everything that's been happening with the disastrous state dinner and Andrew's shameful reemergence in the royal fold very publicly and Fergie's suspiciously well-timed downfall, I want to recap this episode from 2023 because it's just as relevant as ever. How times have changed, but not for the royals. I was saying everything we're going to go over in this episode years ago, as we all were, and nothing has changed. So let's take a trip back in time so we can finally confirm that the more things change in that monarchy, the more they stay the exact same. And that's really going to lead to their ultimate demise because they refuse to adapt. They refuse to evolve. They refuse to, simply put, get with the program, get with the times. All right, so here we go. And let's get right into it. So getting right into this week's highlights, it has been a horrible week for the royals, specifically Chucks and Cams. They have been greeted everywhere they've gone by the Republic, an anti-monarchy group that lobbies for a democratically elected head of state. They do not want to be subject to a king. They think that it is completely ridiculous in this day and age to have some random guy pretending to be better than everybody else. They're organized. They have a very large grassroots movement on social media right now. I would be a little bit nervous if I were greeted by this everywhere I went. They started out earlier in the week with a visit to Colchester, and if they were greeted positively by anybody, if there were any cheers among the crowd, I couldn't hear any of that. All you hear is the boos, the heckling, the not my kings. It was brutal. Look at this. Brutal. In as much as it was hard to watch, I just don't have any empathy for them in this situation. They are getting their just desserts. Every time you see any royal story these days, it's about how much Meghan and Harry are going to be booed and yada, 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 da, 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 da. But At the end of the day, it's all projection, isn't it? 2025, the People's Duchess here. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Harry and Meghan continue to be nothing but warmly welcomed in that country. Whether it was the Queen's Jubilee or Harry's recent trip back, they've been nothing but cheered on and welcomed by an adoring public. They really have fallen into the traps they have set for Meghan and Harry. They have fallen into the graves they dug for the Sussexes. This is after Egggate, mind you. This is after they were hucking eggs at the man. So, gosh, hindsight, eh? Hindsight is necessary, as is discernment. If Charles or Camilla had any, they would have thought twice about going to Colchester that day and thinking that they'd be warmly received for some reason. It's all projection because that was not a warm reception. And who were they waving to? Like, who were they waving to? That was so weird. Maybe it was habitual. I get it. You see a camera, you're kind of predisposed to wave, but they were waving to the crowd. And I don't know about you, but I didn't hear a single well-wisher in that crowd. If there were, I didn't hear it. And, I'm not like necessarily reveling in that or anything like that, but isn't it strange how every single thing that you guys have wished for Meghan and Harry has actually been a projection of the debilitating state that you happen to be in? It's not lost on anybody. Britons have definitely been asking about the monarchy and the place of the monarchy in everyone's lives since the Queen's passing. Not everything can survive through millennia after millennia, and it probably shouldn't. I mean, society is different, mentalities are different. Typically Camilla, she's the least trained person I've ever seen in my life. She's no Queen Elizabeth. She's not couth, she's not kempt, she's not classy. She doesn't have that air of etiquette and decorum. So it didn't get better when they got into the church. Charles got up there and made this ridiculous, hypocritical speech, waxing philosophic about the Commonwealth. This is the quote right here, that it continues to amaze and inspire him. And I swear, if I had rolled my eyes any harder, they would have popped out. Because what? You love diversity? You're inspired by diversity? Oh, okay, you mean arm's length diversity. Present day here once again. This is a crazy, crazy speech that he gave. We've all seen the videos of him skipping over the Black folks in the audience in those walkabouts. And this speech is even more insidious now that we've seen that. I hadn't seen that at the time. But now that I've seen those videos, I mean, for him to just get up there and say, I love Black people. Bro, clearly only to do services for you. You won't even shake a Black man's hand in full view of everyone. So you can be diverse, you just can't be, Meghan Markle diverse and in my family. The things that you do are much more important than the things that you say. So all of this getting up there and talking is stupid. It's dumb. We know better. We know that you guys are degenerate, including tormenting your young wife. You and your mistress tag teaming her to torture her to within an inch of her sanity. Do you know what kind of psychopath you have to be to actually mentally torture a person? I've studied psychology. I have a bachelor's degree in industrial organizational psychology, and I would never be able to stomach tormenting somebody. I'd rather just not talk to you. And I get it. You married her for her womb and yada, yada. You guys had to do what you had to do. But you didn't have to torment her. You didn't have to gaslight her into thinking she was crazy. And then here comes your work wife trying to rehabilitate her image at all costs at anybody's expense. I guess before Meghan, it was Kate. And even till today, it sounds like it's still Kate. I don't get the idea or the impression that these two are particularly close. 2025 again. Not only are they not particularly close, but as it turns out, Camilla can't stand the sight of Kate and doesn't want her anywhere near her. Since Charles's coronation, it has been more and more clear that she either envies Kate deeply for her youth and what is perceived to be beauty in the UK, or I don't know, there's something amiss there. There is definitely something amiss. William and Charles and Kate and Camilla, there is all kinds of something amiss here. You have to really ask yourself, so what is royalty then? Royalty represents a strange faith-based superstition that they have the right, the birthright, the absolute right to rule over people, to steal their things, to take their land, do whatever they want. And oh, it's okay because God said that they could. It's okay. God said we could do this. And then there's this trinket over here. Why are you handing this out? What is this? It's deliberate and it's ridiculous. It's such a shame. What the actual F is this? This is just completely unacceptable. What the actual heck is this? It is so deeply offensive. You have to really start asking these questions. In what way does that history make you handpicked by God to rule over anyone? I've never done drugs. I don't drink. Many people don't do drugs or drink. So what makes any of us not ordained, but you who has tons of vices, including adultery, including probably drug use, you don't strike anybody as the type of person that God would smile down upon favor and say, you, more than anyone else, deserve this. What? And Charles too, like your mom was the queen, and I think that that's the only reason why people have bided their time. But look at the family dynamics. You got Andy over here running around with a pedo. You've got all the males basically in that family running around with pedos. It makes no sense to me. I don't know any pedos. I don't know any people like that. And as you can see, 2025 here, by the way, as you can see, these articles were from years ago, but they're still very much relevant. They are still very much rehashing Andrew Epstein, and now they've decided to throw Fergie into the mix as well. Very relevant, very much the same old, same. These people refuse to do the right thing. Had they just taken care of Andy back then, we wouldn't have this today. But it strikes me as odd that a family with such a prolific history of degeneracy would be the chosen ones. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry, but I am not buying. There's a lot left to be desired, and I think the real questions need to be asked. Should they abolish the monarchy? If you're listening to all the royal reporters and royalists, they're very popular. So why don't they at least let the people have a referendum on whether or not to keep them versus shoving the monarchy down their throats and forcing them to come out of pocket when they're in the midst of a massive cost of living crisis and the coronation is just being shoved down their throats. And nobody thinks that's fair. All right, so we're back in 2025. I give it a year. I give it a year before something pivotal happens, before someone can't take it anymore and loses it. I give it 1 year before the meltdown or the breakdown, and in my opinion, it's going to come from either W or K. Both of them are hanging on by a thread. They can't keep this up much longer. We were discussing this in Discord. It's just weird. Dude, just give it up. Everybody is flawed. Everybody has made mistakes. You are not perfect. Your family is not perfect. In fact, you folks are some of the most deeply flawed individuals I've ever seen. And I worked in family therapy. You are not God ordained to do a darn thing. Look at you. You're not doing well. None of you are doing well. You're not in good health. You're not in a good mental space. You don't like each other. None of you seem to get along. So where's the God ordained? Where's the blessed and beautiful life that you're supposed to be living that's better than us? Child, anyways, let me know what you guys think about this recap. I really enjoyed myself. This was so fun. Y'all, this was my very first video that I ever posted onto this channel. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, I hope they like it. I hope they like it. And I was in my head a lot. So I was just like kind of stumbling through the whole thing. But oh man, points were made. I clipped it down. So if you want to watch the original, it's still available. Definitely recommend. But yeah, yeah, we've come a long way and we've actually gone nowhere with this royal family.